Hey everyone, we're going to talk about XRP, and I got to kick things off with this gem from Crypto Brothers XRP News today. XRP Tundra unveils two-token strategy with 25 times return potential. So listen, I'm watching all these tokens flood onto the XRP ledger lately, yeah? And out of nowhere, everyone's screaming about yield like it's some miracle. But hold on. This yield everyone's going crazy over, we're looking at 15%, 20%, heck, I've even caught wind of 30% yield claims floating around. That stuff comes loaded with serious risk. And sure, I see folks swearing up and down they've done it, crushed it, made bank with these amazing returns. But real talk, I'm pretty convinced those people are collecting checks to say that. Listen, seriously, don't get caught up in this stuff. You're literally gambling with your XRP here, and honestly, we're probably going to watch a ton of rug pulls happen over the next few months. And while all this chaos unfolds, people are going to be watching their XRP disappear. Experts are actually saying stay away from those 8 to 10% return offerings. I mean, they're literally publishing articles now trying to warn everyone that when you see these crazy high returns being promised, you need to stop and think about what could go wrong. Nobody's sitting there promising your XRP won't vanish into thin air. That guarantee doesn't exist, people. This intel's coming straight from Davis Brooks, so here's how wild the FXRP caps are scaling. We're talking 10 million between September 29th and October 5th. Jump to October 6th through the 12th, now it's 20 million. Following week gets bumped to 35 million. Then we hit 50 million the week after, and 70 million as November hits. Here's what I think happens. By late October, those caps are getting absolutely demolished within hours. Hugo just dropped some news. FXRP cap on flares about to smash 70 million. Look, these caps are going to explode faster than you think. Jump in and mint when the moment's right, but here's the deal. No FOMO necessary. Why? Because Firelight 5's dropping soon with even juicier yield opportunities. Now here's what really matters. Protecting your F assets is everything. Think about it. Higher caps equals serious institutional money flowing in, and guess what? The team's not rushing this. Their smart, measured approach to scaling, that's actually fire. I'm seriously hyped to watch this unfold these next few months. Everyone's jumping on this train right now. Did you see that cap hit 5 million? 4 freaking hours, that's insane. Listen closely because I'm going to say this once. Grab Flare while it's dirt cheap. Trust me on this one. Flare's about to absolutely explode down the road. This is literally that time machine moment, you know? Like if you could rewind and scoop up XRP at 2 cents, that's exactly where we're standing with Flare right this second. Massive stablecoins are popping up as this $100 billion threat to Visa and MasterCard, delivering faster, cheaper payments while completely disrupting the US credit card industry. Here's what I believe. Credit cards will eventually fade into history at the pace things are moving, because stablecoins have just become the most significant event we'll witness in our lives. Everyone and their mother is hyping stablecoins lately, but hold on. Certain stablecoins, they straight up fail audits. And let me tell you, some of these stablecoins are seriously dangerous. Wait till you hear Jim Rick break this down. Listen to him.
Because the BRICS are working on another currency, they already have one, it's called gold. Here's the danger. These are, there are two dangers. The first one is these stablecoin sponsors are almost completely unregulated, non-transparent. No one has ever audited one of them. We don't know what's inside. Now, I'm not accusing anybody of any fraud. If I think that most stablecoin issuers do exactly what I said, which is they buy treasury bills or equivalent, very high quality, short-term, highly liquid instruments. But A, we don't know. And B, there's got to be at least one fraud out there, probably many. What's to stop a stablecoin issuer from taking the dollars, issuing stablecoins, and stealing the money? The answer is nothing. And how would we know? Well, we'll find out the hard way when, when one of these dead fish, surfaces. How do we know it's not was it FTX, has Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever? So that's coming. I'm not accusing anyone of fraud. I think the vast majority of them are not frauds. They're doing what they say they do. But just experience go back to Robert Besco in the early 60s. One of these guys is a fraud. We had no idea whom, and we'll find out the hard way. So that will start a panic. Now,
we're about to find out the messy way, and when this thing drops, we're talking black swan territory, people. But Digital Perspectives is claiming Ripple can actually provide the backup these stablecoin issuers need using XRP. Keeping that peg locked, reserves tight with XRP, that's literally the holy grail. Plus, Bybit's listing RLUSD on spot now. And RLUSD, it's blowing up everywhere. Like, this expansion is crazy. It's literally taking over right now. Okay, so I'm literally counting down the days until RLUSD breaks into the top 5 stablecoins. But here's what gets me excited. Ripple's being completely open about everything, right? So here's the million-dollar question. Can institutional adoption and decentralization actually coexist? David Schwartz dives into how tokenized assets and on-chain credit are basically building this bridge between traditional finance and DeFi. And honestly, the XRP ledger is the absolute perfect foundation for it all. To back up this whole idea, he's pointing out how giants like Amazon and Uber are hungry for better financial services. And guess what? XRP ledger is sitting pretty, ready for them to jump on board. Listen, if you put Ripple side by side with Amazon and Apple right now, I genuinely believe Ripple's going to absolutely dwarf both of them. Look, Ripple's headed straight for central bank territory at some point. You really don't need a PhD to see where XRP's going next. Let's dive into the market snapshot, price dynamics, momentum vibes. We're staring at a textbook breakout setup, some critical levels worth your attention, and the golden takeaway. All right, so there's this article that just came out, and the XRP chart they're breaking down. Listen, I'm not exaggerating here. XRP is rocking the most bullish chart across the entire crypto universe right now. The second this rocket ignites, FOMO's gonna hit differently. Like absolutely next level crazy. We're talking full-on meltdown mode here, people. XRP is gonna be the only thing anyone's talking about. And those fence sitters watching from the sidelines, oh man, they're going to be hurting because they'll be throwing money at way higher prices. Waiting around for that perfect entry? Bad move. You'll catch yourself panic slapping that buy button while riding halfway up some absolutely ridiculous green monster candle. Let me tell you something. Right now, this is the moment to hold XRP. And I mean it. This isn't rookie talk. This comes from real experience. You gotta have faith in your moves. Check this out. Someone hit me up saying, first year diving into crypto, what's your wisdom? And they're holding 1,300 XRP, feeling absolutely pumped about it. Only 20 years young, stacking whatever extra cash flows in from side hustles and the day job. Fingers crossed this baby moons big time down the road. We've got all these newcomers flooding in. And guess what? They're catching on to XRP's potential, where this thing could really explode. But get this. Nobody's hitting that sell button. They're stacking more and more XRP like crazy. It's wild, right? People keep saying they're late to the party. Meanwhile, XRP's chilling above $3 or hovering above $2 as we speak. Look, thinking you're too late for XRP? Stop right there. You're actually super early when you consider where this thing's headed. Seriously, you've still got time with this cryptocurrency, but here's the catch. You need patience once you jump in. And honestly, that's where most people mess up. They can't sit still and boom, they end up selling way too soon. What happens is they throw in way too much money, dreaming they'll wake up millionaires tomorrow just because they finally entered the crypto world and everyone's hyping them up saying, you'll get wealthy so quick when it takes off. But then boom, suddenly we hit sideways movement or things dip down and people immediately throw in the towel. Listen, just grab whatever amount you can actually afford and then sit tight until things pop off. The old school petrodollar system, it's literally falling apart, about to completely collapse. Countries everywhere are testing out different currencies, especially when they're sending money across borders. Now listen to this.
Their big announcement, people have been waiting for the new BRICS currency. They did not announce that. That may be years away, but they did something equally important. They created a BRICS payment system, clearance and settlement of securities transactions, and a digital ledger of what one country owes to the other, et cetera. So it's a payment, balance of payment recording system, again, all using blockchain technology, which has been around a long time. The importance of that is now they're completely outside the dollar system. It doesn't mean they'll never do another dollar transaction, but recall they've been Russia, at least, and some of the other countries have been kicked out of the dollar system. So if you kick somebody out of the club, they're going to start their own club, and that's exactly what they've done. Now, this is mostly trade-oriented. I don't want to suggest it's the end of the dollar, but it's kind of the beginning of the end. You know, sterling in 1913 was the global reserve currency, and by 1944, it was a footnote. Well, that took 30 years. These things play out over time. This could move very, very quickly. But one really important element, so let's say Russia ships energy to China, and China pays them in Chinese yuan. And then China ships manufactured goods to Brazil, and Brazil pays them in their local currency. And you're keeping all this on a ledger. The central banks in each country can pay the sellers and the buyers, but the countries then have a ledger where they owe each other a certain amount. Well, you have two problems there. One is you might have too much of the currency, that more than you can really spend. If you have a big yuan balance, but you don't need that much from China, what are you going to do with the excess? The other thing is you have exchange risk. If Russia has a big yuan balance from China and the Chinese yuan devalues, Russia could lose money on that. So how do you solve that? The answer, which is 5,000 years old, is gold. In other words, if you have too much of the other guy's currency, you can just buy some gold, sell for dollars and buy gold. Or just buy gold directly. I should also mention they set up a new commodities exchange that includes gold. So you can buy gold in local currency and then just have the gold. And that obviously solves your foreign exchange problem. So this is, apart from pointing to the end of the dollar, at least in trade as a trade currency, it's extremely bullish for gold.
And that's exactly why they're going to bail on SWIFT, right? They're actively hunting for something better as we speak. That's why from day one, SWIFT is basically watching all these BRICS countries walk away. And here's the thing, more nations keep lining up to join BRICS too. Why? Because they want fairness, They're just done with how the dollar system works. It's disappearing at lightning speed. That's exactly what we're seeing on Coinbase right now. Coinbase XRP reserves just crashed 93.3% in 7 days, hitting rock bottom. Yet folks are still out here claiming a billion XRP, maybe 100 billion XRP is excessive. Hold on though, do we really know that? We never have. Think about it. XRP was literally built to reach every single human being on Earth. We're talking 8 billion plus humans here. 100 billion? Honestly, I'm not convinced that's even enough. Look at the speed these institutions are gobbling it up. Now we've got XRP treasuries popping up, yeah? And as the clock keeps running and reality finally hits us, XRP's evaporating while everyone's rushing to grab more. Watch those prices explode right along with it. This is seriously just day one of something absolutely huge. And meanwhile, you're over there flipping your XRP, thinking you'll swoop back in when it dips. You might be completely locked out with no way back in, because there could literally be no XRP left on exchanges. Yeah, that's a real scenario, because when these corporations vacuum up this cryptocurrency, they're constructing liquidity pools that connect nations, wire banks into each other, unite companies with other companies, and plug businesses straight into their distributors. Listen up, you're about to watch massive amounts of XRP just vanish. And when it kicks off, it'll happen lightning fast. Here's what I think is really happening with Coinbase. JP Morgan and BlackRock are positioning themselves right now, stacking up all the XRP they need. That's exactly where this XRP is headed, in my view. BlackRock's scooping it up through Coinbase, staying completely under the radar without raising any alarms. You won't even realize it's happening until BlackRock drops that massive announcement on us. So until that moment comes, keep your cool and stay optimistic. All right, I'm going to close out this video now. Huge thanks to every single one of you for tuning in. Catch you in the next one. Have an awesome night.